not in favor at all of cutting EAs, and so I looked for areas where we could save money in order that we would not have to cut the EAs. All right. So when I heard all of the feedback from the elementary school principals, when I heard feedback from the EAs that are currently working in our system, and when I heard feedback from parents, the direct impact of the educational assistance on our students is tremendous. And in being put in the position of having to choose between EAs and assistant principals, to me, the only decision I can make is to keep the EAs.
I guess I'd like to ask Janet a question. Educationally, where do you stand, Janet?
The research does not validate that EAs, or paraprofessionals as they are called in the research, increase the academic achievement of students. If you have a situation where you have a teacher and an EA takes groups for remediation versus a certified teacher working with those students, head and shoulders above, the research validates the certified teacher does much better work, and the results for the kids. I'm looking at the results for the kids and the role of how we use people. Secondly, we have a very high number of EAs for our student population comparing to a lot of other districts. And I'm not putting down the work they do, but our teachers are going to have to do, just as you heard tonight, the math teacher this year went in and started co-teaching. There's a different way we have to work. The research tells us the most effective way to offer remediation for a student is in the classroom, not pulling them out. If you take a kid and pull them out of math class to give remediation, he or she is missing the instructions going on in the room. They're getting some skill development, and that can be reading, that can be math, that can be any content, but they're missing out on the basic instruction. So they're always behind. So we're talking about a push-in. So the math specialists, the reading specialists, the special ed teachers, we're doing what's called a push-in model. As they go into the classroom, they co-teach with the teacher and help the teacher do different differentiation strategies. That's what we're looking at. And it's already started. We've already been.
I'm troubled by this. And the reason I'm troubled is back when we were asked by the Legislative Council to make adjustments to our budget so they would have some idea of knowing where we were going to reduce, I was against doing that. I felt that to put in writing where we're going to see reductions effectively locked us in, because when the voters went to the polls the second time, they knew where the reductions were coming from. And I was concerned about that. That this is where reductions were going to lie. And I've been on this board long enough that if we do not act on these reductions, if we do not reduce where we said we're going to reduce, then we are going to be chastised by everyone who said, well, this is what you said, and now you're backing off again. We're reducing what we have to reduce in order to make this budget palatable. I know.
With respect, I think that we should make our decision based on the information we had at the time. And despite the fact that we were put into a position of having to stand with them before, I think that the world can understand, and hopefully the communities will recognize that we're doing our best to follow, to listen to their reactions to what we came up with the first time. We do have this second chance to fix it. We don't have to go with what we did a few months ago.
System, whereas the high school assistant principal is a new and added position. So I'm looking at an integral part of our schools to an added position, and I'm just seeing that the integral part is, in my opinion, more necessary to keep.
I will vote to retain the cuts on EAs and also to remove the AP. because we just don't have the money.
Anyway,
Now, when you originally proposed cutting all the EAs at 500 and some thousand dollars worth, that did not include the EAs of kindergarten, right?
right, I had saved positions for kindergarten and obviously the special
So
ed.
this is about 40% of the hours
Mhm.
of the non-special ed EAs.
Many special ed parents come up to me on this issue, but also I think the important qualification there that everyone should understand is that we're not eliminating special ed EAs if we do this, but it's the position we're talking about, not the person, and the decision of which person fills the remaining jobs is up to the principal.
Right, they will be first, the seniority, last
Right.
in, first out. And then the positions and what's used within the building, other than special ed, will be the principals
Right.
to determine that.
The amendment on the table is to add 120,323 back to the EAs. Keith?
Yes.
Richard? Lillian? David? Andy? Debbie?
Yes.
And I'm a no. So the motion fails 5-2.